So let us now proceed to the Q&A portion. We have here several questions posted, Sir Richard.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's start from this question from Miss Florale Inayan, one of our Zoom participants. Okay, so Ma'am Florale says, overcoming fear of speaking in English has always been a great struggle for both Filipino teachers and students. What is your stand on the acceptance of non-standard, non-traditionally spoken, or non-native pronunciation and grammar in public speaking classes?
All right, so English is a language. It's an international language. It's one of the most commonly spoken languages around the world. And on one hand, there's correct English, which is acceptable in most polite conversations. But there's also like many variations of English that can be acceptable depending on the circumstances. Okay, so if you're making a formal presentation, if you're making an academic presentation, the academics will expect you to speak good English, right? But if you're talking to your family, you don't even have to speak in English, okay? Even if some of the words that you use may be in English. Why? Because it's a more lingua franca kind of thing, right? So language is just a medium. Remember medium? Okay? That conveys meaning between the sender and the receiver, okay? So should it always be correct English? The Queen's English? It depends on the circumstances around your presentation. Okay. Now, how do you overcome the fear of speaking English? Oh, it will not vanish overnight. Okay. I mean, I am fortunate that we had very good English teachers from high school, and in college we had a language or speech laboratory, and that is where you really listen to yourself and like improve your projection, your pronunciation. You see, everything can be studied. Okay, so it's up to you to do that. Now, if you have not done that, if you were not fortunate to have that kind of experience, you can still do it in your own spare time. Okay, but you need a good mentor. That's where somebody who speaks better English can coach you and help you along. So if you're afraid now, just start doing something to change your condition, your situation, and you will become better at it, okay? Nobody becomes a champion the first time around. You have to try and try again. Okay? Next question.
Thank you, sir. We have here from Sir Arthur Guerrero from Facebook Live. What is the best public speaker, the one who have knowledge of or sharing his or her experience, or both? Right. What is the best, what or who? What is the best public speaker, the one who have knowledge of or sharing his or her experience, or both?
Okay. Knowledge can be very cold at times, you know. When you many academics, that's why they seem to be boring, because they just say so. They just explain things like that. But I think because your receivers are also humans, and they interpret, they decode your message, and many of them decode it in a way that's more acceptable to them, I think you can make your messages more palatable, more relatable if you use or share personal experiences. If you make yourself a little bit more vulnerable, then people will relate to you better, will accept your messages even more wholeheartedly. Okay? So, yes, again, the context of your presentation. If you're making an academic presentation, you can be as cold and straight as the rest of the academics. That's fine. But if you're talking to a popular audience, you need to be a little bit more popular too. Okay? So konting dramatization will help, okay? Because that's how people like accept messages. So if you have those skills, you hone them, you sharpen them, and then you can deliver much better.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have another question from Sir Anthony. Good afternoon, Sir Richard. May I ask if this communication model you discussed can be related to math? I guess human communication may not mathematical in nature. Please clarify.
Come again, if this can be related to
Math, sir. Math.
mathematics.
Yes, sir. Mathematics.
Well, you know what? Mathematics does not have to be an out of this world subject, okay? I had a very good geometry teacher. I was so impressed by the way she made abstract concepts real, okay? And so if there was one science or math course that I liked the most, it was geometry, because my teacher was able to express herself very well, okay? So is it difficult? I think it can be challenging, but it is not insurmountable, okay? So teachers of mathematics, you know, everyday life brings us in front of math problems. So we have to make use of these problems that people encounter every day. You have to pay something. If you are not given the correct change, you just don't complain. You have to complain so that you will be given the exact change. So very simple analogy there. So make it more relatable by bringing it down to examples that people experience in their day-to-day life.
Okay, thank you, sir. And we have here questions from Miss Mara Del Calar Isguera and Miss Mirna Marquez Rivera. I think these two are related. The first question is, how long should my lesson be to still be engaging to a young audience? And how far should a teacher go motivational online to learners who seem demotivated?
All right. So how long? Well, that depends. I mean, you know, I think if you're a teacher, you only have so much time to deliver your content. Okay. And even if it's blended learning or online, yeah, you have a limited time. So I think it's making use of available time to express yourself or to share your lesson. And I think you can divide your time effectively by varying your lessons, okay, or the experiences that you share with your students, okay. So you've probably heard of the multiple intelligences approach to pedagogy and all of that, you know. So if you're able to, within that period of time, if you're able to bring your students across through various experiences of the same subject area, then you will have been more effective, I guess. All right. So how long? Most of the time, we don't have the luxury of enough time. We can only deliver our content within a specific period of time. So let's work within that. Again, practice makes perfect. If you deliver that lecture twice before you actually deliver it, the third time around, it will sound much better and much better prepared.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next one. What are the strategies that we can use in speaking in front of students when it comes to not that good speaking in English?
Strategies to speak to students who do not speak English. All right, so
yes, sir.
All right, if your students don't speak English, speak their language, okay? Except when you're teaching a very technical field, like some sciences, then you have to use the scientific terms. But yeah, speak in the language that your audience will understand. I think that's key, number one. Now, if your students, if your class is not very comfortable in English, will you not speak English to them also? I think we have a duty to raise up the level of competencies of our students. So if you're good in English, actually you just speak in English. They will pick up your good English. And it's better for them to pick up the good English of good English teachers than to pick up the English of teachers who don't speak good English. All right? So if you're confident about your English, go ahead and use it. Next.
Okay. Okay, sir. Next one from Kyla Marie. How do you cope with stage fright when it comes to public speaking, whether you are a student or a teacher? This has been a struggle of mine for years, especially when speaking English. Are there ways to cope up this stage fright or perhaps advice? And this is related to a question from our Zoom participants on how to overcome nervousness and phobia in speaking in front of audiences.
All right. So revisit your idols. Sino ba yung mga idol mo? Who are the great speakers that you follow, you idolize? Then behave like them. Okay? It's not always easy. I mean, people who are thrust onto a stage, yes, they do get butterflies in the stomach. And I don't mean butterflies who fly. You know, it's something that you feel inside you and you're so knotted, you are so nervous. You need to get that out of the way. And how do you do that? It can be a physical thing. You know, there's such a thing as adrenaline, you know, because it's something that your system injects into your body so that you can perform better. So you make use of that new input into your system. And if you're so energetic, sometimes you cannot even talk, you cannot begin to speak because nabubulol ka na. I think you can do something physical even before you enter the stage. This is what public speakers do. Do something physical. You can jog around if you have the space to do it. Or you can just shake your hands, you know, because this kinetic energy, you know, releases some of that pent up energy in you. Okay? So do something. You can even clap your hands, you know, just don't make too much noise. So do something physical. Okay? I mentioned water. Water is a great thing also. Water calms you down. So it's a good tool when you're speaking. You will notice many public speakers have a bottle of water near them. You also get dehydrated kasi when you perform, right? So it's good to have water beside you. And water keeps your mind alert. So you can still remember your cues. You can still remember the things that you have prepared, right, before your presentation. So there is no better way to let go of anxiety or fear during the performance than preparation. Most, let's say, ballet dancers, these dancers have performed the same routine countless of times. When they're on stage, it's nothing to them anymore. They don't feel anything anymore. Why? Because they felt something during their practice, they reinforced it, and when they're on the stage, they're just replaying the best performance they've ever done. Okay? So practice, practice, practice. Kabahan ka talaga if you did not practice and you are on the stage, right? And maybe in some occasions, you just have to say, I'm not ready for it yet. I'll talk to you another time. Okay? That's also a good way out. Rather than make a fool of yourself performing on a stage you are not prepared to perform in.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have here another question. Hi, Giselle Palero here. I've been hosting webinars for schools, for school and work. But I'd like to ask, what can you tell aspiring communicators or public speakers who are struggling to keep their audience throughout the webinar session?
Have you ever watched a magician perform? And how he keeps the audience so enthralled, so focused on what he is doing? I think the challenge is for us to be magicians also. And sometimes we can achieve that kind of attention by doing something totally unexpected or different. But that trick is for people who are experts already. But you can start by varying the activities. Because students, if you listen to a lecture for 15 minutes, yeah, I mean, after that, they will just zone off, they will tune off, and they will do something else. But if you shift the activity or the the experience into another activity, okay, then chances are they will still follow you, okay? And sometimes it's a virtual meeting like this, you can ask people to like tap themselves, you know, tap yourselves, because it's a way to keep you like awake. Yeah, it's good for the speaker, it's good for the audience too, see? By just asking them to do something physical, right? So you keep them awake, you keep the circulation moving, and everybody is engaged.
Okay, thank you, sir. We're down to 4 questions since most of the questions are interrelated. So, nasagot na rin po yung iba. Okay, from an anonymous attendee, hello, sir. Do you have any topics po in creating an impactful introduction in digital speaking? What's one thing po that you need to consider in getting or keeping your audience attention on you and your speech?
The moment you come on stage, you already have everybody's attention. You only have 3 seconds to keep that attention. So the first things you say, the way you look, the way you sound, for the first 3 seconds, these are crucial to keep your audience interested. How do you maintain, how do you even escalate that? You move from one high point to another. Your kind of logical thinking can be very attractive. And if you move from one thing that they can relate to another thing that may be surprising or interesting to them, then you have moved them along. You have paced them, no? You have led them on, okay? So that's a challenge for any speaker that, yeah, I mean, anybody who performs on a stage is challenged to keep the audience attention well through to the end. And again, there are many ways to do that, but it's practice that makes perfect.
Okay, thank you, sir. And we have here from Ahmed Samia. Good afternoon. Thank you po, Sir Richard. My question is, what practices or activities students can do while they are in their homes to improve their speaking skills? Considering po that the interaction between the teachers, especially language teachers, are limited. Thank you po.
You know, I studied Spanish in school, but nothing prepared me for speaking Spanish in Spain. Because once you are there and everybody's talking so fast and so loud, and you're still conjugating in your head, but everybody's already saying and expecting you to say something, it's difficult. You know what was what I found most instructive when I was in Spain and learned how to speak Spanish was following television. Because television contextualizes the language, all right? Ito sasabihin mo pag galit ka, okay? This is how you express yourself when you are doubtful or somebody like crosses the line. So how do you like express yourself like that? So the context is there already. The words just come out, no? Many of these words you already know. Like all of us already know many words in English, but it's putting them together in the proper context in response to, let's say, a conversation, all right, that challenges us. Again, you know, the faculties of observation are there in your students, but how do you make them engaged? My first job, I was a Spanish language teacher. And you know, at the time, this was in 1983, okay? Everybody hated Spanish because they were just enrolling in it because it was the requirement to graduate. But I had to do something different in the classroom to keep their interest. And sometimes I'd bring a guitar and I'd teach them how to sing songs in Spanish. Madali naman. And when you sing something in another language, that's exactly how you train them to speak in that language. Okay? And people remember the songs I taught them. And it was so comforting later to receive letters written by my students, and they tried to write in Spanish. And if I were to rate their letters sent to me like a few years later, I think they were very good letters. 80 to 90% ang rating noon. So that means to say, kahit pa paano, naging effective naman tayo. Why? Because we made them use the language in reference to their common experiences. Ang dami pa nating, 20% of our vocabulary is Spanish-based. So we can really build on that. No? So in the same way, our English, everything is in English then also. No? If you look at culture, entertainment, movies, concerts, even the Koreans are speaking English. So why can't we? We actually have an advantage and we can build on that. So yun.
Okay, thank you, sir. Last two questions. Okay, from Ma'am Juanita, how can we approach a person in the position who needs to improve his skills in speaking? He's not my boss, but a friend. The moment he speaks, let listeners get annoyed.
Alam mo, there is a test for English as a foreign language. So I think if you have to qualify English language speakers, maybe it's good to require them to pass the test of English as a foreign language. But I'm joking, you know. So if there's somebody who annoys people because of the way they speak, and it is your prerogative to let them speak or not, don't make them speak. You will only grow your annoyed audience. Diba? So look for somebody who can speak better, deliver better. Okay? If the expectation is that they speak good English, look for a qualified person. Yun lang yun. Competency-based recruitment comes into play.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. And last question. Sir, I'll sum the last question into this.
All right.
How to be you po? Yun lang yun. Because they were asking about how
Yeah.
to have some modulate voice, how to be calm. So in short, how to be you po?
Well, I can explain the hair loss. What can you do with that? Yeah, but sometimes, you know, you have the perspective of age, because I've been through a lot more. That means to say I've been practicing far longer with more people in different circumstances. All right. So that gives me confidence, no? And yes, I look back and I say, yeah, all of these things that I went through before are now put into play. So full play in a situation like this, and I draw upon my previous experiences and expertise to make a more effective presentation. As I said, my English has been formed by our good teachers, by a speech laboratory that we frequented, okay? And that has helped me, and that can help you as well. But today there are so many instructional videos, you know? You just need to be busy. Because if you are lazy, you will not go anywhere.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And as much as we would like to continue with this Q&A portion, due to time constraints, siguro next time ulit. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, and thank you very much, Sir Richard.